All right, so we get a lot of people coming to us. The main reason, right, they want to get better at golf.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the 1 hour or one video or, even the 4 videos you send in the month, that's great. Doing, having us explain what's wrong, that's great. But it's kind of like when you go to a doctor's office, you're in with the doctor, you tell them your symptoms, they give you some medicine. If you don't take the medicine, probably not going to get better, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we're going to talk about a little bit today is how we think or how we advise our students to practice, okay? And that's going to be what we call the perfect practice kind of summary.
Okay? Exactly. How do we practice to get better?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about what we call the 25% rule, okay? How do we go to the range? How do we break our practice sessions down and to really get the most out of our sessions, okay?
Right. So that basically means there's a bunch of different parts of golf, right? How do you decide how much time to dedicate to each different part? We're mainly working with people on the full swing, but again, golf is a comprehensive sport. There's a lot of things that go into it. So basically, 25% of your practice should be spent on the driving range. 25% of your practice should be spent in the short game area, 25% on putting, and then the last piece that often gets neglected, especially from a lot of amateur golfers, 25% should be spent on the mental game.
Yeah. And you see a lot of beginner golfers, they love just going to the range, right?
Yeah.
Just beating balls on the range, not getting much short game work, and definitely no mental game work, like you said. Okay.
The first thing we're going to talk about is that 25% you're going to spend on the range. What should that look like? How much time do you spend on technique versus performance? Those kind of things.
Yep. Okay. So the first thing that you probably should start with is one of these right here. Okay. Right. If we don't know where we're aimed, we're probably not getting very productive practice done.
Absolutely.
Right? You can't just rake balls and just hit it.
I see a lot of people in lessons actually, sometimes I'll make them pause and say, okay, where are we hitting this ball? Where are we trying to go? And I just get like I'm not really aiming anywhere.
Yeah, they're just trying to make contact. But we're going to start with one of these. Make sure we're getting a consistent setup. I know you like to use 2 alignment sticks. Yeah, it's just great for you to have the same setup, same ball position, and then really get your alignment in check.
Yeah, so when he says I like to use 2 alignment sticks, I do. And
on this side.
So I'll have the one here for my target line, and then I'll just lay one right here for my ball position. I have those taped off with, this is my 7-iron, this is my driver, etc. So I know my setup's the exact same every single time. Not a requirement, but I do recommend lots of people start doing that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one there. Okay. Another thing I see people doing is they just hit balls kind of as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Swing 100% every time, hit as many balls as you can, but turns out that's not really what the best players are doing. Okay, so we're taking our time. We're gonna either go through our pre-shot routine, swing thoughts, swing feels. Okay, and we're doing all these motions very slow, really trying to ingrain the swing thoughts that we're trying to produce.
Exactly. So your brain, when you're trying to build these new motor pathways, which is essentially what you're doing when you're trying to make a swing change, your brain doesn't really know you're going 100% or you're going 2%. It just knows this is the motion that I'm making. So we want to make sure we go as slow as we possibly can to make sure that we're doing that drill correctly.
Yeah. Especially when you're trying to go through a swing change. Swing as hard as you can is not going to
produce a whole lot of results for you.
So we are having slow, really conscious, really thought out.
Intentional.
Yeah, intentional movements.
Yeah. Love that. As far as kind of how much should be dedicated to that type of practice and how much should be dedicated to performance, I kind of go off a general rule of 50-50 as far as that stuff, especially for amateurs and beginner golfers, especially when you're trying to make a swing change. Maybe you've got an hour to go practice on the range, 30 minutes, lay your sticks down, do those really, as many reps as you can, 5 to 10 reps between every ball you hit, very intentional. We just had a lesson with a guy who was a little bit vertical. We were trying to get him more this way so he could lower that club and rotate through it. So for him, we recommended a couple drills. I would say do 5-10 reps of these drills between each shot for
really
30
going
minutes.
Through each part, trying to fill those positions, That's great.
And then the last 30 minutes can be more that transferring those skills from the range to the course.
Yeah, I like to really do a lot of visual work towards the end.
Yeah.
So pick different targets, kind of make sure, maybe take the alignment stick away, but that's when I'm really going through a pre-shot routine, hitting at different targets, trying to hit different ball flights.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point too. Hitting different ball flights is always a great idea, especially if you're trying to perform and kind of teach yourself some versatility, keep things random. 25% on the range, 50% of that technique, 50% of that performance-based.
Yep.
And that's going to be a pretty good productive range session for you.